Going ahead and talking about some of the vocabulary terms that we started working on yesterday. The first vocabulary term that we started on yesterday was mean. And remember, what do you do for mean? You add it all together, and then you divide by the total number of dots. What's another word for median? Middle. Another word for mode, most. And then how do you find range? You take the greatest value, and you subtract it from the smallest value. So taking a look at number 1, it wants you to find the mean, median, and mode, and range. So first we start by finding the mean. Now, remember, we have to add all of our values up together and then divide by the total number of dots that we see. So what I want you to do is I want you to go through and I want you to find the value of each dot. You should have something that looks like this. So this dot right here has a value of 1. These two dots right here both have a value of 2. Now for the mean, our first step is to go through and add all of those values together. So that would look like this. That would look something like this, where we took every single number that we had and we just went through and we added it all up together. Now I want you to go through and I want you to add it and I want you to see what you get. When you added it all up together, you should have gotten 113. Now what do we do? Well, to continue finding the mean, you're supposed to divide by the total number of dots that we have. So how many total dots do we have? We have a total of 20 dots. So I will divide 113 by 20. And what does that give you whenever you do that? You should have found that it gives you 5.65. So our mean is 5.65. Now, median is another word for what? Middle. So how would you find the middle of this data? Remember, to find the middle of the data, we go through and we put slashes. The smallest, then the greatest. Smallest, then 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 greatest. Smaller, then greatest. I totally missed the 7th, so I'm going to go back. Okay, sorry. All right, we'll start with there. So smallest, then greatest. 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 And we are left with a 5 and a 6. Now, when we are left with that 5 and that 6, what is the middle of 5 and 6? The middle of 5 and 6 is 5.5. Or what you could do is you could say, okay, 5 plus 6, and then I have 2 data points, so you divide it by 2. So that would be 11 divided by 2, which still gives you 5.5. Now the mode is another word for most. So which one has the most dots? If you look here, you see that 5 has the most dots. It has 4 dots when everything else has less. So your mode is 5. And then range, how do we find the range? We do the largest value minus the smallest value. So what is our largest value? 10. And then what is our smallest value? 1. So I would do 10 minus 1, and that gives me 9 for my range. All right, this one says, the dot plots below show the total number of spam calls received by Mike and Liz over the last 20 days. Use the dot plots to evaluate the following statements. All right, so the statement 1 says the range for Liz's data is greater than the range for Mike's data. So as a reminder, how do you find range? You take the greatest number and you subtract it from the smallest number. So for Liz's data, that's right here. So what would I do for this one? I would do 6 minus 0. And that gives me 6. And then we have our range for Mike. For Mike, how would I find that range? I would do 6, and in this case, I would do 1, because that is the first number that has a dot. So I would do 6 minus 1, and that gives me 5. So is it true that the range for Liz's data is greater than the range for Mike's data? Yes, this is true. The next question says the median of Mike's data is greater than the median of Liz's data. So first we have to go through and we have to find the median of each. So I want you to go through and I want you to find the median for Mike. In order to find the median for Mike, we take the smallest, then the largest. Smallest, largest, 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 and we are left with a bunch of 4s, which means that my median is going to be 4. Then I want you to find the median of Liz. We do smallest, largest, 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 and we are left with a bunch of 2s. So the median for Liz is 2. Then, the median of Mike's data is greater than the median for Liz's data. Is that true or false? That would be true. The mode of Mike's data is greater than the mode of Liz's data. Well, mode is another word for most. So the mode of Mike, which number has the most dots for Mike? 4. And what is the mode for Liz? 2. So is it true that the mode of Mike's data is greater than the mode of Liz's data? Yes, this is true. And then we have the mean for Mike's data is equal to the mean for Liz's data. So remember what we do is we go through, well, actually, how do you find mean? You go through and you add up all of your numbers, and then you divide by the total number of dots. So here we have 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, and 6. And what would I do with all of those numbers? I would add them all together. So here, 0 plus 0 gives me 0. 1 plus 1 plus 1 gives me 3. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 gives me 6. That's not true. That gives me 12. And then 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 gives me 12. 4 plus 4 plus 4 gives me 12. This is 5. And then this is 6. And then I'll add those numbers up together. So I have 0 plus 3, which gives me 3. 3 plus 12, which gives me 15. 15 plus 12, which gives me 27. 27 plus 12, which gives me 39. 39 plus 5, which gives me 44. And then 44 plus 6, which gives me 50. So I have 50 over however total many dots she has. And so how many dots does she have? She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 dots. So I would do 50 divided by 20, which gives me 5 divided by 2, and that equals 2.5. And then I have to go through and I have to find the mean for Mike. So remember, how do I find mean? I go through and I add the values all together. So go through and label all of your values. Then what do you do with all of those values? You add them up together. So I would do 2 plus 6, which gives me 8. 8 plus 9, which gives me 17. And then I have 17 plus 36, which gives me 53. 53 plus 5, which gives me 58. And then 58 plus 12, which gives me 70. Then I divide that by how many total dots Mike has. So how many total dots does Mike have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I would do 70 divided by 20, and that gives me 7 divided by 2, which gives me 3.5. So is it true that the mean of Mike's data is equal to the mean of Liz's data? No, that information right there is false. The last question says, Deandra was making bracelets to sell for a fundraiser. She made 63 bracelets in 6 hours. If she continues making bracelets at the same rate, how many hours will it take Deandra to make 105 bracelets? So I want you to come up with a strategy for this. My strategy is that I see bracelets once, and then I see bracelets again, so that's twice. And then I see hours once, and then I see hours again, so that makes twice. And when I see the same unit twice, I set up a proportion. So I would have blank equals blank. Well, in the first sentence, and I would also have my units, which is bracelets, in hours. So in the first sentence, how many bracelets do you see? I see 63. In the first sentence, how many hours do you see? 6. In the second sentence, how many bracelets do you see? 105. And in the second sentence, how many hours do you see? X. How do you solve a proportion? We cross multiply, so I have 63 times x, which gives me 63x. And then I have 6 times 105. 5 times 6 is 30, so I write down a 0, carry my 3. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3, and then 1 times 6 is 6. And then I just go through and I divide both sides by 63. So we'll do 630 divided by 63. 63 does not go into 6, but it does go into 63 one time. 1 times 63 is 63, subtracting that gives me 0. And then drop down that 0, and how many times does 63 go into 0? 0. So that gives me x equals 10.